Okay, buddy. Am I on my sound? Okay. I am 5 minutes late. And Mom, I know you're watching. A couple things real quick. Number one, before you say something about me being late, there's 3 clocks that I'm looking at, and everything's it's me. Every clock's different. Number two, Mother, stop sending me the text messages about tomorrow. Robert gets himself. Robert, make sure you eat before 12 o'clock. And maybe, maybe that's my fault. Maybe I like a little boy to you or something. So yeah, I'm waiting for you to send the next text. Make sure you wear clean underwear tomorrow. So I have a bladder surgery tomorrow, and yeah. So and I just want to thank my mom for going to court. It meant a lot. Okay, everybody. So yeah, before I want to say a couple more things real quick before I begin. OG Mike. I just forget. Jesus, bro. Hard Mafia Truce. Okay, and to him and Loomis, they have a show. We changed it to hard truce and reviews, and it's like a tick. I keep on forgetting names of different channels. I know people's names, but I forget, and I apologize. You guys, if you don't know about this, and I'm sure most of you people in the audience do, Hard Truce and Reviews, please go check out the channel and support them. OG Mike contacted me. I don't know how many months ago, but he's been a real friend. Loomis contacted me way back. Both really good guys, have been supportive of me and my personal struggles channel and stuff like that. And I'm going to put it out there that I did believe I was going to prison today. I did believe that I was prepared to get 3 years, and I was going to do some telephone calls from prison, if depending on the prison and the SIS and if they allowed. But I had planned on it, and OG Mike was there volunteering to help me to post stuff, and I really appreciate that, Mike. I do. Johnny Mac has a show on YouTube. Don't write bad comments if you guys. Some people because we've been in beefs before and stuff, and me and Johnny have had a history, and we like each other, go after each other. But I want to say this: through any kind of beef we've ever had, I've always been consistent on saying that I can't help it but like Johnny Mac, and I want to thank you, Johnny Mac, just for listening over the last week, just for listening, and I mean that. So I wanted to put that. There was a couple other things. Shout out Alex Salco. Know him from Leavenworth back in the day. And today, when I went to court, in the courtroom was a guy by the name of Russell Marx, or Rusty Marx. Rusty Marx, when I met him at Leavenworth back in 1998, was 11-1. He'd won like 11 cases and lost one. His own. The one he lost was his own. And just ended up becoming an awesome jailhouse lawyer who's actually working in a law firm. He like me, had life without parole for a nonviolent drug offense. Doesn't struggle with substance abuse like me. When I got out of prison, before I even got out, he contacted me. He got out before I did and was saying, Ross, you're going to get out. When you get out, let's partner up. There's several guys who do legal work, legal assistance, whatever. Rusty was one of them, and he came to court today for several reasons, but one, because he read my judge's opinion in my first revocation hearing and was thoroughly impressed with my judge. He actually drove like 3 hours with his beautiful girlfriend, and he came because he was kind of like a fanboy of my judge, to be honest. I think he wanted to meet my judge. And when I say this, and it's not just because of what's going on with the judges has been lenient towards me or whatever. There's very few judges, and I mean this, that are as thorough and do their diligence like the judge that I have. And Rusty, when he read the transcripts of my first revocation here, he was kind of in awe. And he's going to be on the show soon, by the way. He's actually trying to get his law license, having problems with federal probation. That goes back. But anyway, I know my attorney Anna Williams is a big fan of Russell. I'm just kidding. Just kidding, Anna. And by the way, Anna, if I didn't thank you today when I left, I'm sorry. I was kind of a, it was kind of a, I was shocked. I was actually kind of, there was some kind of shock that I was walking out of the courtroom. Okay, so let me go back for maybe somebody new in the audience. I had life without parole, life without the possibility of release for a nonviolent drug charge. So in 1997, I was arrested in that case for drugs. And ultimately, some months later, in January 1998, the federal government indicted me for conspiracy to distribute methamphetamine. At that time, if you had 2 strikes or more and the prosecutors really wanted you, the sentence was mandatory minimum life. That's since changed to mandatory 25 years. Okay, so I was in prison 23 years, 8 months, and 1 day. And a judge out of the Western District of Arkansas, Fayetteville Division. I've said his name before, but I'm not. Anyway, well, it's so Judge Timothy L. Brooks, and I'm not, and if that's wrong, I apologize. My compassionate release went before him and granted me compassionate release based on health condition, COVID at the time. The CDC guidelines were that people that were X amount of 30 pounds or more overweight, had certain health conditions, were susceptible to, if they caught COVID, it could be detrimental to their health, whatever. So under the COVID guidelines, under the CARES Act, I believe, Judge Brooks took a chance, maybe as you say, but let me out. My first year on paper, or by all appearances, were really well. I got out of prison, and I can't say it enough. Was given more than most people in my shoes can ever dream of. Not to mention, I had a really beautiful wife, still have, from Spain, who came into my life years before that. I mean, just it was. I had a great support network. A lot of people who supported me, and my family really hooked me up. It was said today, when the judge was doing a recap or procedural history of my case, that on the surface everything looked good, but I had admitted some months ago that really I drank the first day out, and 4 months into my release, a little bit of dabbling in drugs, pills, meth, and other drugs started happening, but I wasn't getting in trouble. I was kind of maintaining. My dad passed away January 2022. That is the time that I really started crumbling inside, whatever, and deteriorating, whatever you want to say. And fast forward to March, April of last year. What I have 18 lots, 2 houses, cars, golf carts, side by side, all that. It wasn't just drugs. The gambling really took me out. Lost pretty much everything, and apparently hanging on to this place and a wife. But nevertheless, very fortunate. Anyway, so last year it was April 13th, I think it was. There was a warrant issued for my arrest for violation of supervised release. I want to say there were 7, 8 dirty urines. I left the state without permission and failed to return for a drug test. And I turned myself in. I was out of state. I drove back straight to the courthouse, turned myself in. I was in the Washington County Detention Center up in Fayetteville, Arkansas for 60 plus days. Went in front of the judge, and my supervised release was revoked. However, I had 649 days vested good time. So when the judge gave me a compassionate release, he reduced my time to 25 years under the new law. So prior to 2018, Mandatory minimum for 2 or more prior drug convictions was life without parole, which is what I received. And by the way, I'm leaving out that I was offered 2 years to be a government informant. I turned it down and I got life. They did get the right guy. I think the penalty was way too harsh. They blew it up as I was the largest methamphetamine supplier in the Western District of Arkansas, and I was the first person out of this area to get life without parole or life without the possibility of release for drugs. So, Judge Brooks the judge looked at my case. He reduced my time to 25 years, which was consistent with the new law for a third-time drug offender, and gave me 10 years supervised release. I go in front of him, 2+ years later, or just 2 years later, I think it was at the time, and he gives me a sentence that was above the guidelines, but he did so because I had good time vested. So on 25 years, you would do like 21 years or 22 years and some change. I did almost 24 years. So when I was released, I had all this good time. So if I went back, it was like a get out of jail free card. And those were my judge's words. So he gives me that time in case I screw up again, plus the county jail time, and I was out of jail. So he put special conditions on me, new conditions, which included no gambling, no drinking, had to have work with 30 hours a week at least within a month's time. Drug testing changed. I had to be there between 8 and 12, and that's because I admitted to altering drug tests. That's saliva test and urine test. And so I believe the theory is if I go between 8 and 12, I don't have time to do the magic or do the work, whatever you want to say, even though I was failing all these drug tests, but I did. I admitted it, and I had new conditions. Also, I want to say that I did ask for these special conditions, and that was based on the fact that I wanted to show my wife that I was serious about changing. But I was told by a probation officer that the judge was going to give those to me anyway. Whatever, if that was the case, whatever. I asked for them, the judge gave them to me, and more conditions were handed down, and I was fine with it. Many of you who watch this channel know it wasn't very long after that I originally went and lived with my wife, and then we couldn't get along, and I ended up moving where I am right now. And I did get a job. First day I was supposed to go to work. My car broke down, and things started deteriorating. Okay. So between the time I got out, which was June, and September of last year, was there 3 or 4 drug tests which I copped to today and admitted to today. So I had failed. I want to say 3 or 4, whatever the case. So I had those. I would then go to rehab, which is a Harbor House in Fort Smith. I had initiated going there on my own without probation. Probation did get involved. So it was probation that helped. Well, probation paid for it. I would have been out of pocket like $1,000 on it. But I went, and I wanted to stay in transitional living after the 28-day program. And I never had a set time on it. Probation wanted me there 90 days. I was looking more like at a year. Originally, I did not want to go for my marriage. It was for me. But I also knew that my wife lived real close by, and me being in Fort Smith, which is about, it's 35 miles from here, it would help the marriage if that's the way it was going to go. So was up there and made it like, I think it was on the 60th day or whatever, I relapsed. And let me say this about my relapse after rehab. It was intentional. And what I mean by that is, and some people might not buy this or believe whatever, there was no cravings, there was no urges. It was an argument where I felt like I couldn't be heard, and like a man child or somebody with emotional issues or whatever the deal was. I literally said, if we can't communicate, I'm going to go. Tomorrow I have a drug test, and I'm going to use drugs and go blow it. And I'm going to go back to prison. I said that, and that's what I did. Of course, I regretted it, some days later. But anyway, so that's what ends up happening. On November the 30th, my probation officer sought either a warrant or a summons, meaning my probation officer drove up to the judge, and it was decided, instead of putting a warrant out for my arrest, which I would have been told immediately to turn myself in, or the marshals would have came and got me, the judge decided, I think with the probation officer's influence, I think that'd be fair, to let me remain out. And one of the reasons, I'm not sure if that was the entire reason it was addressed today, or the primary reason, whatever, was because just before that, I was diagnosed with bladder cancer. I have had recurring bladder cancer since 2005. I do have a tumor in my bladder right now, which will be removed tomorrow. I have surgery scheduled for tomorrow. So the judge wanted me to take care of that. Docket was a little bit full. I was scheduled for court today. I was supposed to have the cancer removed on December the 10th, but the cardiologist wanted to clear me. I got cleared, and just a few days ago or whatever, the urologist scheduled me for the surgery tomorrow. So I go in front of the judge. Well, my attorney told me a week or two ago that she had a client that had stage 4, I think, cancer, and the judge was not sympathetic towards his medical needs. And that doesn't mean he didn't care. I don't know the circumstances, okay? So I shouldn't get too far off in that. And there was also, so one of my things was, okay, can you let me stay out until I get the cancer surgery done? And also, I have this house down here that I might lose if I go to jail. She said she had another client that told the judge he'd be homeless. The judge is like, so be it. So I don't know, I'm paraphrasing. So my hopes were dashed of staying out. I was prepared today to go to prison. And based on what the judge told me in June, I did believe that I was going to get 3 years. Now, why? The guideline range for me is 9 to 14 months, okay? But the judge has a discretion to do whatever he wants. The federal guidelines are advisory nowadays. It used to be mandatory. So the judge can do an upward variance, whatever, and he can actually go up to 5 years. I didn't think he was going to do 5, but I did think he was going to do 3. As a matter of fact, for the last 2 days, I have been down here, and I have barns or storage buildings on this property. I used to have 90% more property in just personal effects than I do right now. But I have been preparing to go to prison, and that means taking stuff out of the house. Again, I've taken stuff out of so much, and storing them and sealing them for a 3-year period. And it just so happens that the day before yesterday, like out of the blue, I get a renter for this house. It was perfect, so so it was some relief because mortgage payments would be met, property would be down here secured with somebody living here, because this is the country. There are people that steal, shockingly, and so you never know. So it made me feel better. I should take this time right now. Any neighbors that are listening to this or watching this, particularly the one over here, I apologize for the noise that I have made at 4 o'clock in the morning this morning. I started staying up at nights. This isn't drug related, by the way, people. I've done that before, but when I was here over the summer, I came back, what was it, July? I was ready to get a job working the night shift. So I started staying up nights, sleeping the day and stuff. At that time, so, there's no blinds, and it's not like all wide open, If I have stuff to do in the yard, boom, I'm going to do it. Now, I can back up to December of 2022 and say that under the influence of narcotics, I may or may not have ran a chainsaw at 3 in the morning and upset said neighbor over here who used to bring me vegetables and now won't look at me. So last night I get all of the things that I need stored, exhausted, knowing that I had to get up at the latest 7:30, and it just every time I looked at the clock, it was 8 o'clock, 1 o'clock. It was just miserable. I had no hammer and screwdriver to seal my stuff. I had a rock, big rock. So I'm out there, snow on the ground still, cold, beating nails in the thing, and dogs are barking. And I was like, oh man, this sucks. So the neighbors that heard that, the ones that sleep at night, my apologies. My apologies. But I was ready to, my point was I was ready to go, ready to go. My mom picked me up this morning, brought me to court, realized that I was prepared. So I have a picture of me today. The clothes I was wearing, I was prepared to like give away when I went to jail with Rusty Marx, by the way. I think I'll post it for sure on Convicting Facebook page, but maybe on the, well, I will post it on the community page on YouTube. So go to court, get there at what, 10:20, whatever, go upstairs, do the urine test thing, walk downstairs, and court's adjourned, court's ready to go. Talk to my attorney, Anna Williams, and she was talking to Brandon Carter, I believe, the ASUA, that's the Assistant United States Attorney, Brandon Carter. I hope I'm getting that right. They were talking in the courtroom. My friend Rusty Marx and his girlfriend were in the back. Mom was there. Law students, I believe, on the side. My probation officer came in. The judge comes in. Right before that, I told my attorney and the ASU that I wouldn't be challenging any of the alleged charges against me at the time. They were prepared to be there for some hours because I had told my attorney as well as my probation officer, I think there was 5 that I was going to challenge. In part, largely due to famed mob attorney Matthew Mary, who I sought legal advice from over a jurisdictional issue and another issue. He's the one that just said, go do it. And to tell you the truth, I was completely exhausted. And I've been reading and rereading the judge's original opinion granting me compassionate release, as well as the transcripts from the last violation of supervised release, preparing an argument in my head, what I wanted to say. And I've been going over it and over it. And as I did, I'm looking at what the judge said. Of course, at times I was only picking out the negative stuff, because he'd say like, Mr. Ross, so I believe this or that. So like the part that like I can say, well, I did this, Your Honor, and you're wrong here. Like, so I'm like fixated on like the parts where I'm going to go tell the court this, that. And finally, it was just like, who are you to go do this to this guy? That's the truth. Also, Brandon Carter, the U.S. Attorney, during my first revocation hearing, it wasn't the revocation hearing, it was actually the initial appearance, which is in front of a magistrate. He was talking to the magistrate, and the words that came out of his mouth was that my original sentence was unjust. When he said that, like I remember tearing up. He did not look at me and like apologize from the government, but to hear a prosecutor say that about your sentence, when you know that is, look, they got the right guy originally. I was the right guy, 27 years old, made close to $1 million in 7 months, 21 cars, 4 houses, blah, 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 blah. They got the right guy. Now, never owned a gun, never got in a fight over drugs. Definitely a menace to society, communities, by running up and down the roads with Corvettes 100 miles an hour, just being a 27-year-old idiot. So they had the right guy, but life without parole, especially when they offer you 2 years to snitch, it's like they don't want you, they want the numbers. It's kind of like that was a slap in the face. But anyway, he said it a couple times, never said it to me. I did thank him back in June for saying that. And that stuck. Like anything else that could have happened at that point, it didn't matter because just hearing those words. And I've told like 3 or 4 guys that had life sentences, or 3 that are out and a couple that are still in, what the prosecutor acknowledged. And anybody that was sentenced to life without parole for drugs, whether they're in or out, that's like a dream to hear a prosecutor even acknowledge that, right? So, and Mr. Carter, in my first supervised release, he had no position. Like, he was not trying to put me in prison. He literally said to the judge, "This is basically your baby." I think those words, those exact. "This is your baby. Do what you want with him, Your Honor." So today, when I walked in, I let them know that I was not going to be fighting, which meant that um, we were going to get out a lot earlier than they expected. My judge is very thorough, so I think they anticipated a couple hours. Okay. They also anticipated me having a lot to say. Can you imagine that I talk a lot? So last time I talked for well over an hour and a half, I believe, just me. Um, I told my lawyer I was going to say very few words, and I don't know if she believed me. She doesn't believe me a lot of times. And by the way, my lawyer Anna Williams, we beef. Brought that up in court. She's she clerked for my judge for some years. She's a very good attorney. Um, Reminds me a lot of my wife, the petite, beautiful lady. I don't say that in a weird way, beautiful lady, but I don't want to use the word. But she's good. And I just want to say again, Anna, if I did not thank you when I left today, I didn't. It wasn't intentional. So she probably didn't believe that I wasn't going to have much to say. But when it came my time, I admitted everything that they had on paper. What was there, 10 or 12 today, whatever it was. And there was like a hot $10 hot check. There was not having a job within 40 or a month. 6, 7, I think I forgot the number of a diluted bottle, which I pled guilty to. And so I forgot how many dirties. It doesn't matter. There was dirties, okay? When it came time for me to talk, I think my words, and by the way, for the last 2 weeks, I've been like obsessing over what I was going to say. There's so much I wanted to say. And I did want to make a legal argument, and I did want to bring up a jurisdictional issue, but I didn't have the heart when I read the judge's the opinion he gave me when he granted compassionate release. It's really hard to like tell somebody, I don't think you have jurisdiction when this guy let you out. And not only that, like it seemed like almost like he went out of the way and has been lenient and has tried everything. So, I got a lot of respect for him. Um, yeah, I do. So I spoke today and was pretty quick. I thanked the judge for letting me out. And I said, and I've been thinking about this, like, I cannot in good conscience, um, you know, uh, I didn't say like ask for mercy. I don't think I said those words, but, you know, sit here and this is paraphrased and say that whatever you give me, and again, I'm expecting 3 years, I'll accept and whatever, that's fine with me. I understand. And I've fully read the opinion he gave me last time. I was fully aware. And I will say, and I've said it before, although I struggle and I do not believe that locking people up for addiction issues only is the right thing. It's the law. My judge doesn't make the law. My probation officer doesn't make the law. The prosecutor doesn't make the law. The prosecutor enforces. The judge calls balls and strikes. And my PO does. He's a branch of the judge. He's the judge's enforcer, so to speak. So yeah. There's times when I'm like, oh, this the judge did this, But when I think about it, the bigger picture, that's the truth. And I have talked to many guys some guys that have been violated, some guys that haven't, but all have done time. What's the right call here? Not about me. Do they believe that people that are violating their supervised release, probation, or parole should be sent back to prison if they're just doing that? And I don't want to minimize it by just saying just. It's the right answer. It's like a mental health issue, but is revocation is going back to prison warranted, especially when the prisons that I've been in are saturated with drugs. So do you put a drug addict in prison where there's drugs? So that I'm more talking out loud right now. Okay. these are conversations I had, and I know friend Alex is probably watching right now. We talked about it, and I think he's the one that kind of, I think, or Mike Miller said, yeah, I mean, you violated parole. Yeah, you deserve to go back to the joint because you violated. I know my PO watched one of the shows, and uh, he said, I think he said, you're not going back for being an actor, you're going back for and I got it, and he knew where I was coming from. But anyway, so the judge was doing sentencing factors, going back and forth, mitigating factors, what they're called, the pros and the cons. This is the reason you need to go back. This is, these are things in your favor. And the issue of my bladder cancer came up. My attorney told me that she was going to ask that I remain out and that I am allowed to turn myself into the Federal Bureau of Prisons. Okay. So I stay out of prison. And because I'm a medical, it's called a care level 3. Because if I ever go back to prison for any reason, I'm forever going to be in a medical facility, okay, because of my recurrent cancer. So she was telling me that it takes a while, like maybe 3 months or more, to get placed in a medical facility. So, for example, if the judge would have put me in prison today, like she had a client that waited 8 months to go to a medical facility, okay? So she was going to ask, and she said she didn't know what he was going to do. She's not going to read the tea leaves, but this is what she wanted to do. I believe that there was a chance, just because my surgery's tomorrow, but I didn't think that he was going to let me stay out, and then turn myself in. I didn't, maybe a week, and he very well could have done this, ordered the U.S. Marshals to take me to my appointment tomorrow. But and my mom will tell you, and my friend Rusty will tell you, I was there waiting. Said hello to Mark. Told one of the marshals, who's driving to the jail later. Yeah, it was ready to go. And I said this before, and I'll say this again, and I said it in court today. Incarceration, it doesn't bother me, and I don't want to sound like I want that. I don't want to sound like I enjoy that, but because I've been in prison so long, institutionalized, whatever, that part doesn't. Going and thinking about getting out, and I knew for sure, especially in the first month or two, I was going to go through hell mentally because of certain unresolved issues in my life. And of course, I have a mom, that's in her mid 80s. I was lucky to get out and have just a little bit of time with my dad last time. So I know that that's going to weigh on me when I get there. But consequences, like prison stuff, it's not like something like, oh, I'm going to go back to prison. It's not. Well, it just depends what frame of mind, especially if I'm high or whatever, or if I'm justifying a behavior, whether it's using or not, or whatever. Okay. And I brought that up in court today. The shocking decision, and I put this in the title, and I don't, I put the title of this live down. You want to draw people in, and it wasn't a big leap. But one of the things that shocked the hell out of me, and I can get emotional pretty easy. Okay, I hope I don't right now as I say this, but the prosecutor last time, when he even said something about my sentence being unjust, it teared me up. I said today that no matter what, I was not gonna. I'm tired of tears. Told myself this. The prosecutor elected to speak again. I forgot what point it was, and I'm going to paraphrase here, and I hope I don't get his words wrong. And Mr. Carter, I hope you don't get backlash from other prosecutors. That's not my intent. I think that it's important I bring this up to show people that prosecutors aren't all about just trying to book people. They aren't about not all of them are trying to just hurt people. So I'm going to paraphrase a little bit. Mr. Carter said that when I originally filed my pro se motion, that's by myself, pro se motion for compassionate release, apparently, it was in the prosecutor's office because they have to respond. And I think he said 7 people around, I think, and he was one of them. So the prosecutors, of course, they're looking at this, they're prosecutors, okay? And some prosecutors are total assholes, but whatever. We need them. whether we like them or what, we can say the system's wrong, right? We need them, okay? So he made a comment. I guess he was not in the minority. I think he was the only one that was for granting my compassionate release. And I believe he said based on the time I done and the sentence that I got. I'll have the transcripts. I'm not going to say that I'll read them to you, but I wish I did have them so I can like get his words right, because I don't want to sway this one way or the other. And so he was for letting me out. And that to hear that, again, this is the same guy who said that my sentence was unjust. And I was like, there was something inside of me. I was like, oh, Robert, don't break, bro. Don't do this. And then he went further. And he told the judge once again, I believe that he wasn't asking for prison time. And I think he said something, nor was he saying that, I shouldn't get it. I think he was just kind of neutral. Again, I think he was leaving it up to the judge because this judge let me out. So he's got a vested interest in me, right? I mean, I think that's not a far stretch. So he's letting the judge decide. Then he went a little further, and so I don't know, because there was a point where everything was going wall, 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 and that's when I broke. Basically was saying that the potential I had and how I'm wasting it. And he said it was sad. Like my situation was sad. The addiction was sad, and I was wasting it. This guy was like, and I'm not putting down my attorney whatsoever. This guy was like co-counsel. In a sense, what he was saying, and I'm not saying that was his intent. He was just speaking from his heart, I believe. He was advocating for me in a way, and it hurt. Like it hurt that I just keep fucking up. Here's a prosecutor. Like, man, it hurt, right? My mom's over there. I'm thinking about my wife. I'm looking at the judge, and the judge last time, I thought he was gonna read me the riot act. I swear to you. And I even told my mom, I said, Mom, be prepared. He's going hard. He's going hard on me today. I said that. My lawyer told me to get ready. It was like the opposite. And it was like, it blew me away. I have been as honest as I possibly could be to this judge. Last hearing and this hearing. I spoke way too much last time. My lawyer will be the first to say that. Shut up. But I don't regret it last time, and anything I said this time, I don't regret. That is not to say that I haven't lied to my probation officer, but I lie about to everyone. And I don't care if I use with this person. I have a problem admitting when I'm under the influence. Shame, guilt, whatever maybe ego, whatever it is, I'm not constitutionally capable, I don't think. At the moment, it's just in me. And I think it really started it started on probation way back when my first case, but like when I was in the joint, getting high. Maybe when I first went in, it was like, I'm high, like party. It's not party anymore. I know that the term self-medicated is often overused or justified, but I don't know what else. But I just don't. It's a block. And anyway, so but to the Judge Brooke, I've done my best to like say what it is. I remember last time he talked about. I said things. I was violated. I told him about violations that like weren't even brought up or heard of or anything. I went like I wanted to get it out, and as I was doing it, when I do stuff like that, as I'm speaking, I'm actually talking to myself, trying to figure it out, and even like right now. So I want to know, like, am I trying to justify for my addiction? Am I using addiction as a crutch, as some people say? And the judge said that before, and I didn't mean no disrespect when I said something about crutches tonight. But like, I'm constantly questioning myself, um, why? But the judge said something about peeling the layers of the onion. If he asked me questions today, I wanted to unpeel it all the way. Let's get it up. Let's get it out. Figure it out. Um, but yeah, because this guy let me out of prison. I can never. Even if he would have went hard, yeah, I probably would have been bitter. Maybe I would have filed some kind of. I don't know. But at the end of the day, um, he wants to see me succeed, and I believe he has the best in interest. And to the prosecutor, like I said, I hope you don't get no blowback from your friends. I can imagine being a prosecutor and like you sticking up, or I use the word advocate. That's a little strong. Saying that basically you're rooting for me. You hope I get it together. It's the opposite of what we expect out of prosecutors. And when knew I was going to do the live, I had planned on it, but I'm really, really tired. I knew I had to say something about him because I wanted people to know that that prosecutors. I wanted them to see a different side of prosecutors. I just did. And this guy, like I said, he man, I couldn't like breathe for a second. To hear him, it's just different. And I hope that, and I don't want to lie to myself. I hope that I can keep remembering that. I hope I can use those words that he said, like to keep myself in the right direction. Everybody talks about my potential. I'm aware that I can grab people's attention. I am. It's not like I do it all the time. I know that when I'm in an AA or an any meeting and I speak, I can kind of grab people's attention. I can talk about the license for drugs, and I know that. Um, I get uncomfortable at times, and I think it's because I get uncomfortable when people like like say that they or act like they put a bunch of faith in me. You know what I mean? I do. I totally do. It came up today. I forgot the words. I'm not even gonna anyway. Basically saying, I've seen you. You're this, you're that, smart guy, whatever the words are, and it makes me cringe. It makes me cringe. I think it was, I don't know if it was Judge one of or my attorney. Somebody said, that it's a shame he's an intelligent guy. And when they say that, I like literally want to bark back. I'm so fucking smart. I'm here. I'm so fucking smart. I just blew. I'm blowing everything. I've lost everything. I got daughters that don't want to talk to me. I want to go off. I do. I swear to God, I do. And I don't know what that is. Shame, embarrassment. Um, I question, am I lying to myself that I want to be sober? I think about this. I do. Um, yeah. So it's it's uh it's uh it's almost embarrassing for me, right? I'm almost a little bit embarrassed to sit here and say some of the things that I did. At the same time, um, I've said it, especially the last couple weeks. I can't apologize for being an addict. But when I say that too, there's something in me. So there's people that have had a lot worse addictions than me. Um, but everybody's different. Everybody's unique in their own certain way. Everybody's people get high. I think anybody that's been through rehab knows to change the way that they feel. Something's bothering them. I think I can identify the two biggest things. However, I use it as an excuse. I know that I relapsed out of the Harbor House and I had zero cravings, zero cravings. It was to hurt. It was to say screw you. I hurt myself and my loved one. Yeah, just immaturity? Is it institutional? Is that, I don't know. I don't know. I know that when I'm in rehab, I know that when I get out, when I'm going to meetings, I freaking dig it. Love it. I do. And then when I blow it, it's hard for me to get back on that horse. So I don't know. So yeah, I'm way off right now. But today, so it was decided. This is what happened. This is what some people were just waiting for. So this is what happened. The judge sentenced me today. Ultimately, he gave me 14 months. Okay, so I have. Okay, so there's a pronounced sentence. The sentence can be deferred. I think the term he used was deferred for 60 days. I think. And I think that offers him the discretion to give me more or less. I think. I believe that's how it works. Um, I'm out. I got to go back in 60 days. During the 60 days, I get my surgery tomorrow, and I wasn't making this a part of my court hearing today. I said something to my PO last night. I did. Um, at times, like me, I like almost confide in the guy as far as my legal stuff. Yeah. Then at times, I want to like I want to yell and scream at him, like my attorney. But I said something last night, so I've already got it set up to where I was going to do the chemo in the chance that I was let out. So I had the girls at the urology like already scheduled that. And I just, matter of fact, I talked to one of them when I got home and let them know. So, the judge asked me, do you want to stay out? Is this what you want to do? Do you want to go? And I said, no, I want to stay out and do this. I've also got my job next week. Got to make sure my car's running. It is, but I'll get it straight. Jesus Christ. I didn't want to think about finance. So once a week, I'm going to do the chemo. So I go back. So if it's 6 weeks, I still go back in 60 days. I'm done with supervised release. Was it the prosecutor or was it the judge? Basically said they didn't want it to be no, I think it was Mr. Carter. They didn't want it to be a revolving door. So it's like I'm not committing new crimes. It's this addiction thing. Supervised release, probation, parole. They're there. And I know a lot of people have a hard time with this, myself included, but their primary thing is to like help you integrate in society. And they have, which my PO and the judge says, tools in the toolbox. And I pretty much they've exhausted those with me, right? So I was surprised by that. I thought that I was going to get, and when he said like, okay, I'm not going to put you back on supervised release, right then, I was like, it was almost like, there you go, Robert. You were right, Robert. Like I patted myself in the back. There it goes. Here comes the 3 years. It said 14 months. I was like, what? And I started like calculate good time this time. So and then he deferred it, like, okay, we're gonna come back. And then the judge said, can you stay out and behave? And I told him, can't lie to myself. I can't keep lying. And the reason I do that, it's because I fucked up so much. So maybe I don't know if I'm giving myself permission to relapse or keep going, or if I'm genuinely tired of letting people down, but it's myself first. Mike can't do it. So I don't know. I don't know. Really, like I asked myself that afterwards. I think I said something to my mom about it. Like if somebody, Robert, is this the last time? A lot of people just, and I've said it before. I'm done. What's up? I'm doing a live. Hurry, go ahead. Got you. I got you. Okay, bro. Okay, okay, bye. Um, Mike Miller, by the way, you guys have seen him on here before. Um, he's white, not one that he says. Uh, yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what that is. And like I said, maybe I'm giving myself permission. Maybe I like the idea of being sober, but that's not what. And I don't think that's true. But I have to put it out there. I have to ponder this openly, whatever. So maybe that's the case. I hope to God it's not at 54 years old, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. And I hear you in my brain right now, Mr. Young, you probation officer. I just heard him talking. As I said that, I swear to God, I already heard him like just say it. This is anyway. That's inside, but I don't know. Anyway, so there it is. There. Um, I know that there's a few people that are probably disappointed that used to be my former enemies, but I don't beef no more. I can't say I'm shocked still. Couldn't believe it. Grateful, grateful. Uh, wrote down some things in a journal about Mr. Carter. Hope I can hold on to that. Um, I do. It's. He said it was sad, but there's also I don't know what he said, but it's almost like he still believes in me, and it's on one hand, like I don't want him to believe in me or anybody. I swear, it's like I stop believing in me. That's fucked up to say, right? But on one hand, I do. Maybe I can't take compliment. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I don't know. Right before I came here, I was 4 minutes late. You know why? I made some popcorn and I kept walking, taking a handful. By the time I get back, drink soda, I run back. Yeah. So anyway, all right. I guess I'm gonna go. I just wanted to talk about that. Tell you guys what happened. Stunned when it did happen. Grateful, grateful, grateful about that. I mean, I'm grateful that it did. Uh, are my actions going to show that I'm grateful? I guess would be the next one. Um, I think I've already given myself an out in case they're not, because I told the court that can't make no promises. But oh, by the way, if I blow any condition in my supervised release, um, if I blow any conditions of that I'll be locked up. He'll put a warrant out or tell me to turn myself in. And as the judge said, it was like, and he really made sure I heard it. If I do that, I am ruining my chance for medical help. So that it's all on me. Okay. And the way he did that, that was pretty. So it's like, don't blame him, and it's true. And he actually, I thought about it later. What he said, it's like, okay, I'm giving you the chance to get outside medical help with the doctors you already have. And I will even admit that the Bureau of Prisons, once you get a doctor, like if you have a special, like urologist, those doctors, people think that all prison medical doctors like suck or not. That's not true. I've had some bad ones and I've had some good ones. They're specialists on the outside. Even a few of the prison inside doctors, right? The problem is the bureaucracy. The bureaucracy. For example, getting me when I was in the Butner complex, from getting me to Butner 1 to the FMC, which is a 2-minute bus ride, I had tumors in me, and it took 9 months just to get me next door. When I went in for a scope, urologist said, "Oh yeah, you got tumors in you." So that the tumors could have been there for some months. After that, 9 more months before they actually took out the tumors, and that gets scary, the anxiety. So the bureaucracy gets bogged down. Somebody misses a paperwork here, something happens here. That's what happens more so than bad doctors. Okay, but I know doctors that didn't have a license. There was a doctor at Terre Haute, had no license and killed 2 people on the run, posing as a doctor in Terre Haute, seeing us. So yeah, there's horror stories, but like I said, there's some good ones too. So the judge today, if you screw up for whatever reason, it's not me who did it. It's you. Man, it was real. I want to say clever, but he wasn't trying to be clever, but it was, yeah, it was, but it's kind of flipping it, because usually it's a court. Like, I want to see you if you screw up. Now it's like, I saw you, gave you the chance. It's on you. That's pretty, yeah, that's something. That's something. It is. And again, So my POs told me, many people have told me, and I know this, I've been given so many chances. Been given chances and opportunities in my lifetime that people would die, kill for, whatever, if they only had one of the opportunities that I've had. One. Since I was a kid, over and over, I swear to God. Um, I hope, and I do hope at some point, it'd be like right this second, I can turn it around and and take advantage of the opportunity in a way that was designed in a way that the prosecutor, you know, uh, yeah, or my attorney or the judge. I think my probation officer's burned out on me, but I think he was a little upset. Not mad, but yeah, maybe. Matter of fact, the judge said, I think I saw like a still dealing well, so I think I saw something like that. And yeah, maybe not. Anyway, blame him if he did. Yeah, all the paperwork issue for the guy. Anyway, guys hear that? Down my street, there's like never cars coming down. All right, so I'm eating the popcorn on my teeth. Let me go actually finish what I got in there. Mom, don't call and tell me not to stop. Please don't. And I've got clean underwear for tomorrow. Thank you guys for showing up. You know what? Damn. I'm not going to read the comments right now. You got this, Rob. I fired you, John Wolf. Glad for you, Rob. Hope the surgery is successful. John Wolf, speech therapist. I quit. Thank you, Carol. What time is it, guys? It's 10. Okay, so it's 10:30. I've been on an hour. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go. And I've got to talk to Mike. I had to take a lot of stuff that I put out back in again. So neighbors not on drugs right now. So no, their lights are out there in bed. So got everything shut. Um, yeah. Thank you guys for showing up. I appreciate it. Again, thanks to my judge, prosecutor, attorney, even PO. My mom for going. My wife for still not divorcing me. Take care.